Thank you for joining us at our 5D Academy. This demonstration is how to use Assemble, which is a plugin that works with Revit, and it creates selection sets in Navisworks. We use Assemble because it's a faster way of exporting, filtering, and managing the data in Excel that's quicker if you're frustrated in the standard export method from Revit, which involves TXT into Excel, which can be somewhat cumbersome in terms of formatting each time. So if speed is what you're after and you need a verification of visual, this tool can be very effective. So let's just jump right in. Before you get started, you need to get this add-in. The add-ins work with both Revit and AutoCAD. And to get that plug-in, it's a 6.8 Microsoft installer file. That doesn't take that long. Once you install it, you're good to go. So if you jump into Revit, and we're going to show a standard extraction on a high-rise that's a 50-story building. Within the toolbars here, you can see you have Assemble, and you can both get help and about, so you can make sure you have the latest version. Today's version we'll test is version 1.5.1026, this being February of 2013. And we are publishing a model to Assemble, so I'll show you that really quickly. But before we get into that, if you're looking at a high-rise, many of the models that we're given often lack information on every floor. Architects will normally model a typical floor, and they will not model the necessarily each instance of every floor. You could go in and group and add all the content in each floor, but we find it easier just to note which floors are not modeled and to modify them on Excel later. And here you can see of this 50-story building, we've got several floors, 6 through 10, and going up in here. The way I just look at this is you can hover over that and see typical floors, but you could actually click on items and find out which floors are missing. It's good to annotate that yourself. So let's get started. So you publish to Assemble. And when you publish to Assemble, it takes you to their website, so you do need an internet connection. You'd also need to establish your account with Assemble, which is, today we're demonstrating their beta version, but the full version of Assemble is a URL that's assemble.com. We're just going to do a test, and we're going to choose a previous project that we've taken off to do a comparison. You can do comparisons later, which will be our part 3. And you hit publish. And it's good to just kind of note what model that you're extracting from, and I always like to include a date. And here we're putting today's date because I just received this model, and it is a Revit 2012 file. And publishing is probably the longest part of this exercise. It's extracting categories and items, you can see. And later when we log into the website, you'll see that we can filter and sort readily. Part of the reasons I am attracted to these plugins with Revit is they can be time savers for an estimator. So if you're constantly being given new versions of a model from a design team, often you can't control the content. So because of that, we like to, now ideally if you had time, you would create a control model and really add all the custom parameters and content that you need to get the schedule to read appropriately in Excel. But we're just going to take a raw model that another architecture partner furnished us and show you how this works. Upload speeds, which were at just under 6 megabits per second. With a 300 meg architectural model, taking all the categories is roughly about a 10-minute process to upload to the website. Again, function of your internet connection as well as how much items you have in your model. So that's the longest part of this. After you finish uploading, and it goes alphabetical, so you see it starts with air terminals and it's finishing here with walls. And as it completes, then it will publish to a website. So as an estimator, you would probably need either screenshots or we'll show you the better way is a selection set that matches the export of this tool in Navis, which will be the second part. And for this part today, we're just going to show you how to go into Assemble and filter. When I log in, this is my test folder, and then I would go to my particular project and it does take just a minute for it to load. And when I look at the architectural model, I'll show you the raw way it comes in, which is typically showing all the instances under each category. And right here you can see you can expand and collapse. I like to just typically collapse the instances and then go into category and group by level by category. So this is going to break it down floor by floor, the way the model is organized in Revit, and then have expandabilities of each category. The simplicity of this is that you can filter if you want to remove columns. Let's say you want to get rid of volume, you would then go down here and just remove volume if you're not interested in that. Hit apply after adjusting these columns. The second way that you can kind of collect your data is to filter instances, and you can select, if you go down here to this typing box and you add category name is wall, it then filters all items by level that are just walls. And and then you've got all these different floor categories here and the square footage of all the walls. If you want to expand what type of walls you're looking at, then you can expand these things, and it gives you even more detail. Expand all the walls, and I'm going to export to Excel, but I'm not going to include instances because otherwise this gives you every instance of each item, and all I want is a summary typically. And I'll show you what that looks like in Excel. The Excel extraction process is pretty fast, and when you then open up Excel, and you can see it just exported quite a bit of data here. This is what it looks like. And you can go and maybe turn off a few other columns that you weren't interested in. Here you can see it's very useful information. It's got every wall type extracted in less than 15 minutes. So this is 300 meg model that we took us 10 minutes to actually push it to assemble, and less than 5 minutes to sort and filter all the walls and extract. Our next part in this sequence will show you how to do comparisons, and then the third part will be instructions on exporting to Navis so that you can see a selection set that matches this extraction that matches in Excel. Pretty useful stuff, and hats off to Assemble for making it easy for us.